I don't know what else. I don't care about Mirabella.
How dare you?
Hey, I'm Michael from Team Epic Reads,
Hey guys, I'm Tyler.
Hey, I'm Jane.
and today we're recapping the first 3 books of the 3 Dog Crown series. It's a series about betrayal, bloodshed, and too many twists to count.
So if you need a refresher, before starting 5 Dark Fates, the epic finale, we've got your back.
Here's everything you need to know about 3 Dark Crowns. If you haven't read the first 3 books, please turn off this video now.
No, seriously.
Go away if you have not read the series yet, or if you like being spoiled. Some people are into that.
The story takes place on Fenburn Island, where every generation, triplet queens are born, but only one can rule. And on their 16th birthday, the battle's supposed to begin.
Mirabella is an elemental, meaning she can control earth, air, fire, water, or the weather. She's the most powerful of the 3 queens, the most powerful elemental in generations, in fact. She has a strong sense of morals and is the island's favorite to unseat the reigning poisoners.
Arsinoe's a naturalist, but is seriously struggling to develop her powers.
She can't summon a familiar, or even get a flower to bloom, but she's the definition of ride or die. And even though she's an underdog, she and her best friend Jules refuse to go down without a fight.
Katarine, the poisoner, is the best of both worlds. She's a favorite to win because she comes from the ruling class. But she's an underdog too, since she also hasn't shown any abilities herself yet. The family who's raised her is very different from Arsinoe's naturalist, so she's grown up meek, abused, and a little more willing to bend the rules to get things done.
And what's YA fantasy without a little morally ambiguous murder?
The story starts right before their 16th birthday.
When they'll face each other down for the first time and the war will begin.
We meet Billy, a suitor from the mainland, and Joseph, one of Arsinoe's best friends.
Joseph was banished to the mainland for trying to help Arsinoe escape the island years before, and has lived with Billy's family ever since.
Billy is meant to win over the queens and eventually be chosen as the winner's king.
We also meet Peter, a gift of a poisoner who schemes his way into sticking around the capital. He offers to teach Katarine to behave more regally and has his eyes on the Queen's Council.
Let's just say some sparks fly between them.
Meanwhile, Arsinoe has literally no interest in courting suitors.
But she kind of starts to win Billy over regardless, even though his dad knows the political strength lies with the poisoners.
So you have Arsinoe, Jules, and Billy teaming up against Peter and Katarine.
And as these 2 camps gear up for the fight they know is coming, Mirabella is still nowhere to be found.
Because she still has memories of growing up with her sisters, so she doesn't want to harm them.
This concerns the temple, especially, who want the poisoners out of power. So they decide they'll kill her sisters for her.
The poisoners find out, including Peter, but make him swear not to tell Katarine. He doesn't, but they make an escape plan.
On the night of their birthday festivities, if anything goes wrong, they'll run and meet up at the Brechia domain, a giant chasm at the heart of the island.
It's where all the corpses of the past dead queens are thrown.
Cute, right?
It's not romantic?
Back with the naturalists, we find out that Jules' mother, Madrigal, dabbles in low magic, a witchcraft that isn't connected to the queen's gifts.
Jules loves Joseph, so Madrigal wants to cast a spell that will help her lock him down. And Queen's blood is the strongest ingredient she has access to.
Madrigal tries to enlist Arsinoe for the spell, but Arsinoe feels really uncomfy taking away her friend's free will. And she trusts that Joseph will fall in love with Jules on his own.
So she throws the spell's charm in the fire.
This definitely doesn't send good vibes to the couple's way. And Joseph just happens to run into Mirabella after that.
The 2 fall for each other suspiciously instantly and get busted by Jules, Arsinoe, and a temple priestess.
For some reason, Madrigal thinks this was a huge success and decides to do more low magic. She thinks she can summon Arsinoe familiar.
It doesn't work too well the first time.
They get attacked by an undead bear.
But with some help, they eventually manage to bind one to her. Jules is basically commanding it, keeping it calm on the sidelines until Arsinoe is ready for the grand reveal.
At their birthday festival, each sister has to show off their abilities. Mirabella goes first, performing a dance with fire, her favorite element, and demonstrating how strong and graceful she is.
The Islanders are impressed, and so is Joseph, who can't take his eyes off of her.
Jules notices.
Jules' focus slips and she loses control of the bear. It charges Mirabella, but Joseph saves her. Katarine flees like they'd planned, and she reunites with Peter at the edge of the domain.
Things go from bad to worse when he pushes her in.
I have honestly had worse first dates than that.
Oh, I was rooting for you. The festival breaks up. Arsinoe is hailed as the Bear Queen for her vicious attack on Mirabella and has started to receive support and gifts from the Islanders.
One of the gifts has been poisoned and causes Jules to collapse, while Arsinoe stands there completely unaffected in that moment of immunity. Arsinoe realizes she isn't a failed naturalist. She's a poisoner.
Love a good plot twist.
She's a poisoner.
No one knows what's happened to Katarine until she returns a week later, bloody broken, and completely terrifying.
She issues one warning.
I want revenge.
And then I want my crown.
And that's the end of book 1.
I'm sweating.
Can I get some water?
Yeah, that was a lot.
Here we go.
Book 2 picks up right where we left off. Katarine's creepy new personality and talent for knife throwing impress Nicholas, the only suitor to pursue her as his favorite.
But she's not the only one growing stronger on the island.
Jules is Legion Curse, which means she was born with 2 gifts. She's a naturalist, but she's also war gifted.
Madrigal bound the latter when she was born to prevent her from going insane.
2 gifts would take a huge toll on her mind and body. But little hints of the war gift have been slipping out.
She's doing her best to stay calm and keep it contained, while the island's eyes are on Arsenault.
Arsenault's been secretly trying to teach herself about poisons. She's kind of sloppy with it. She almost kills Billy, and does accidentally kill 2 of her other suitors.
And isn't sure now if she even wants to win. She gets word that Mirabella's still mad about the bear attack and sets off to meet her.
Arsenault just wants to talk and explain herself.
But when Mirabella sees her, she's just like,
Ah! Lightning!
Ah!
yikes.
Arsenault manages to escape with the help of her trusty bear.
Billy's dad, meanwhile, is still trying to keep up his political ties. He sends Billy to attend to Mirabella.
Joseph goes with Billy and breaks things off with Mirabella.
He ends up explaining to her that Arsenault didn't stick the bear on her, and the whole thing was just one big misunderstanding.
He returns to Wolf Spring and reconciles with Jules. She realizes that neither of them want to kill each other, so, hey.
Katarine, on the other hand, has a renewed interest in taking them down. With Nicholas encouraging her and Peter disapproving from a distance, she issues a hunt.
Arsenault recruits Jules to help her, but she just reunited with Joseph, and the couple oversleeps.
Katarine goes into the woods and takes Arsenault down with a poisoned arrow. She believes she succeeded in killing her, but Jules arrives in the nick of time and knocks Katarine away with her growing war gift. She steals her horse and whisks Arsenault away.
Katarine is livid. She returns to the crowd and tells everyone that Arsenault is dead and that Jules stole the corpse.
And has been secretly war gifted this whole time. So, to take Katarine and Nicholas down, Billy and Mirabella agree to wed.
Mirabella calls for a duel. Katarine accepts, invites her sister to the capital, and plans for a grand Gothic ball.
Peter skips the festivities to figure out what exactly happened when he sent the girl he loved to the bottom of the Brechia domain.
And decides to climb down it himself.
He actually thought he was going to make it all the way down. I mean, it's super far.
It's not Homeboy's best plan.
Peter, I'm rooting for you.
He doesn't make it to its non-existent bottom, obviously, but it's terrifying.
He's attacked by what seem to be the spirits of dead queens, and yeah, he's learned enough.
Meanwhile, someone at the ball manages to poison Mirabella, and she hasn't fully recovered by morning, so when the duel begins, things are not looking good.
Until Jules busts in and saves her.
Arsenault's close behind and declares the duel is over. And it is.
Kind of, because the royal guard swarm in, capture them all, plus Joseph, and declare Katarine as the rightful queen.
The council is cool with killing Arsenault in private since she's supposed to be dead anyway, but Mirabella is too strong. She'll need a public execution.
Katarine visits their cell to say goodbye and poisons Arsenault.
This breaks Mirabella until Katarine leaves and Arsenault reveals it's like she was faking. They free themselves and rescue Joseph, Jules, and Camden, her cougar familiar.
There's a huge fight as the prison guards rally to try to stop them. Things start to look bad, but the war gifted arrive along with Billy. They've come to save Jules, who they think is their own rebel queen.
Arsenault and Mirabella don't really care what the war gifted have to say. They, along with Jules, Joseph, and Billy, decide to flee the island for good.
Joseph is in bad shape, and the mist around the island seems like it's fighting to keep them on Fenburn. But Mirabella is the strongest elemental in generations and fights right back. It is complete chaos.
Joseph bleeds out before they are able to make it through. And Jules, unsure of what her own role in all this is now, decides to head back to the shore. That's where she believes her future is.
And while all of this is happening, Katarine is crowned queen and officially names Nicholas her king consort.
They consummate their marriage, and it kills him.
She calls for Peter, who promises to help her with the corpse and everything he knows that'll come after.
Katarine learns that her sisters have escaped, but she's not worried about them coming back. Fenburn is hers to rule.
And that is the end of book 2.
I need an emotional break. This has been a journey. My God, there's still another book left.
Oh, yep, okay. Recap for book 3, let's go.
All right, book 3. Here we go.
I'm stressed. I am not prepared, but we're starting book 3.
The two queens are having a very different experience adjusting to life on the mainland. While Mirabella has an easy enough time, things aren't going as smoothly for Arsenault, especially since Billy's quite the hot commodity there.
It doesn't help that Arsenault begins having vivid dreams of a spirit, though she struggles to understand what it's trying to tell her.
There's one clear part to the message, though. It wants her to return to the island.
Meanwhile, back on Fenburn, Katarine's finding out not everyone is quick to accept her as queen.
So instead of letting her sisters get away, she sends a search party after them.
Said search party never finds the sisters, though. Why? Oh, because the mist tore them to shreds. After centuries of hiding the island from the mainland, something is changing. The mist is turning on them.
But why now?
Meanwhile, the War Gifted are trying to convince Jules she is the true queen. The queen's line has been weakening after all.
And as much as Jules wants to deny it, she wouldn't have such a strong gift for no reason.
And so grows the rebellion.
It doesn't go unnoticed by Queen Katarine. In a bid to stop the rebellion, Jules' mom Madrigal is captured. There's to be a trade in order to get her back. Jules for her mother.
The rebellion has other plans for this trade, though. Ambush-like plans.
Peter takes advantage of the situation. He promises to set Madrigal free if she shows him how to cleanse Katarine of the ghosts, because low magic has been working so well this entire series.
Having spent enough time on the mainland, Arsinoe, guided by her visions, returns home.
Mirabella and Billy refuse to let her go alone, and so the trio head back to the island, and Fenburn will once again have all three sisters.
The visions guide Arsinoe to the rebellion camp, where she's finally reunited with Jules.
They aren't together for long, though, as Arsinoe and Billy head to the mountains in search of what her ghostly visitor has been trying to tell her all along. They won't be tagging along for the impending trade.
And already reluctant Mirabella will have to join them alone.
Following the guidance of her visions, Arsinoe finally gets some answers.
So, centuries ago, a queen actually gave birth to quadruplets, and when a fourth queen is born, she's automatically declared the sacred successor.
A blue queen.
Her sisters were sent to their deaths, but one, the elemental, was found and raised on the mainland, completely unaware of her true identity.
Years later, the queen returns to the island because her best friend was chosen to be a suitor. She meets the blue queen, her long-lost sister. The elemental sisters bond, but their refusal to bow to one cruel suitor accidentally brings a war to their shores.
In a tragic turn of events, the blue queen falls from the cliffs of the island and becomes the mist.
Arsinoe realizes what the Spectre was trying to tell her all along. One elemental queen died to make the mist, and another must die to unmake it.
Elsewhere, Katarine and Jules attempt their trade.
And as Katarine walks Madrigal to her opposition, the dead queens take over and Katarine slits Madrigal's throat. Jules' Legion curse reveals itself and her war gift explodes out of her.
She loses complete control. Needless to say, the ambush did not go as planned.
Seeing Jules in such a state has Mirabella feeling uneasy about the rebellion's plans to make her their queen. Arsinoe must keep her sedated to prevent her from causing harm to literally everything around her.
So our elemental queen decides to take things into her own hands. She sets off to join Katarine.
Peter finally gets the chance to try the low magic spell on Katarine to rid her of the dead queens inhabiting her body. No one is surprised when it doesn't go well. The dead queens take over and ambush Peter.
Our poor poisoner boy is left bleeding from the eyes.
And that brings us to 5 Dark Fates.
I'm honestly not convinced that any single character could possibly have a happy ending.
I am overwhelmed and I am not ready for how this all ends. I just want these children to be happy.
I'm just so worried for Peter.